Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see my screen, please? Can we all see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Temidayo, and I'll be taking this session on version control systems. So, if you have questions, you can jot them down. You can put them in the chat too, and then after the session, I can attend to them. Okay, so this is the outline for the presentation we have today. So there's an overview, understanding the problems, project objective, the prerequisites, version control software, and GitHub. So the overview is just this is just a basic definition of what version control is. So version control systems are a category of software tools that help a software team manage changes to source code over time. So version control software keeps track of every modification to the code in a special kind of database. If a mistake is made, developers can turn back the clock and compare their versions of the code to help fix the mistake while minimizing disruption to all team members. So it's actually like self-explanatory, talking about version control. Like in my own layman time, I will call it control. Okay, so understanding the problem. So um, I've talked about what version control is. At the end of this session, I'm going to share the slide too. So understanding the problems, how do we keep track of changes? Like the problem here is thinking about why do we actually need to use version control? Why do I need to understand it or not? So now keeping track of changes, number one. So there are last week when during the introduction call, I talked about an app or a software as a product. So then I was using WhatsApp as an example. And I think when I started using WhatsApp, there was like there were some things that we have now that wasn't existing then. I think when I started using WhatsApp, for example, there was nothing like video call. And then that was maybe 2012 or 11 thereabout. There was nothing like video call, and now we have video call. So if you think of WhatsApp as a product, they actually like have a code, like where they write their code that forms what WhatsApp is, that forms that software. And then if you want to think about it, the code that was existing when there was no video call, is it the same code that is existing now? You can both agree that it's not. And then what if I maybe just join WhatsApp today and I just want to see what they were working on like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, and see the changes, keep track. How do I do that? So that is one of the problems that version control solves. And then looking at the second one, how will we identify and manage different versions? So when I started writing code, I used to do something like this. So this is my documents. Okay, documents. Okay. So let's say I'm developing this very cool idea. I want to build the next Facebook. So I call the project Big Idea. So I'm going to create a folder in my, this is my system now. I'm going to create a folder here. And if I go into that folder, then I have my code. So I can have like new folder here. Say this is the user interface. And then I can have another folder here. Say something like this is where the database will be, and so on and so forth. So remember, if I go back, this is the big idea that I'm working on. And inside this big idea, this is where I have the user interface for that product. This is where I have the database, and I can have like a lot of other folders. So let's say I've been working on this for years,
Hello,
and then
we can see your screen right now. I don't know.
oh, is that true for everybody?
Yes.
Oh, uh, sorry about that. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. So I was talking about this is uh, my folder structure, and I have this big idea that I'm working on, and I just like create this folder for it. And inside there, I have the user interface for that big idea, and this is where we have like all the code and everything for that idea. And then for the database, I have another folder. This is where we actually like have the code for the database, and the code for the database for that big idea will be here, and I can have like a whole lot of other folders and so on and so forth here. So what I'm saying is, let's say this user interface, I have a very good design, and that's what I've been working on. And after I pitched to my customers and my investors, they said they want an upgrade to that user interface. So now I still want to keep this user interface, all the codes here. I still want to keep them, and I don't I want to create a new one too. So what I normally do then is something like this. Um, I will say user interface new. Um, so we have sorry about that. I was trying to mute. So we have user interface new, and some people will have something like this: user interface one, user interface two, stuff like that, and then you can be having it like that. So I can have this in a short amount of time. I can have this folder like this project, different versions of this guy. I can have say I can have another user interface, maybe three now, and so on and so forth. Because I will keep changing it. I will keep changing like I will keep making changes to my product and all those stuff. And so now if I have like maybe hundreds of folders here, and then in a few years time I just want to like go back, it will all be messed up and all. And then to keep track of changes and all those stuff. And I won't even remember why I was making new user interface and all those stuff. And the same thing for database and every other thing I'm working on. So this can actually be very, very, very big. I know like right now, some of us on our system, we have stuff like this, that we have a name, and then we have one, we have two, we have three, and stuff like that. And that is one of the problems that version control actually solves. So then how will you identify and manage like different versions of this software? And then number three, can I get a long-term history? Like maybe you worked on something 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and then how can you actually like check like the history of people that have been working on it with you and all those stuff? Let me show you an example here. Um, on GitHub, for example, I worked on a particular product, I think 3 years ago, and mm, yeah, mm, uh, mm, mm. So look at this project, for example. The last update was made on November 11, 2017, but then I still have it here, and you can see like different versions of this. So this is like the main version of that project, and then you can see like different changes, and you can see some messages and all. And if I check something like okay, local deploy. If I check this branch of that project, you could see I was the one that created this branch, and that was 2017. You can see last commit was made on 25 October 2017. I can still go back to this and then just look at what I was doing. You can see like the message I have here, edit package and all those stuff. I can actually go into this and see, oh, this is what I was doing. And then just for this branch of that feature here, I know like this is the current version as at that time, and this is what we were changing before we have the latest one. So this is actually one of the problems that version control actually solves for us. The objective of this presentation is just for us to understand what version control is, why we need to use it, and then we familiarize ourselves with the most popular version control software, which is GitHub, Git and GitHub. So the tools I use here. So now you may have seen me. This is I use we are going to use Git and GitHub. So Git is actually a software, and GitHub is actually a company that uses Git software, present it in a user-friendly way. And then I still use VS Code. This is Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to show you like a sample app that I worked on and how I incorporate version control with that. And then this is not compulsory. You can use like you can even use Notepad for this, depending. And also Brave browser. I use Brave browser by default. You can use Chrome, Safari, Opera, or any browser you want. And Terminal. So the terminal is just like a command line. So the command line prompt. And if you downloaded Git, you may have something like Git Bash on Windows, for example. So the Git Bash actually gives you a command line interface like the one that I'll be using in this presentation. And so now talking about version control software. So there are a lot of them, and the examples I have here include Git, you have Mercurial, you have SVN, CVS, and the likes. But then for this presentation, we'll be focusing more on Git. So there are like different types, there are differences between all of them. But then that is like outside the scope of this. We may talk about it if you have questions concerning that. And also Git is by far the most widely used modern version control system in the world. So it's popular, and then the guy that actually like built and maintained it is this Linus Torvald. So the guy is the one that created the OS for the Linux operating system for kernel, operating system kernel rather. And then there are a lot of projects now, like millions of projects using Git, and that means more people means more support. So when you have issues, when you have like things you can't figure out and all those stuff, there is a community that will actually like help you that have gone through that before. So it's widely used and all. And then you can use it on Windows, you can use it on Mac, you can use it on Linux and every other operating system. So it's like quite common. And so now talking about Git, so um, um, I'll start with saying what a repository is, because I may be making reference to it in a lot. And since I may sometimes say repo or repository. So repository is like a virtual storage of your project. So remember, like the example I was making here, this my code is actually stored in a folder. So repo is actually like a virtual folder for you, like virtual storage of your own project. So it allows you to save versions of your code, which you can access when you need them. So just think of your repository as where you have your code, like maybe a folder, a very big folder, a very big bucket, something like that. And so I sent a link to the channel on on installing Git. So I have to assume that most of you have installed it, and then you can just go to here if you have not done that. Just go to this URL here. You can select which of your operating system you are using, and then you're going to like get an installer, and then you run it and you just install it. So if you are using Windows, you may have the opportunity to install Git Bash. You should actually do that. I recommend that you do that. So that is that about installing. Then the setup. So I'm going to go to my terminal now. So the terminal, like I said, is like a command prompt, and so let me see. By default, when you install Git, you actually like have it on your command line like this. So when you like type Git on your command prompt and you just enter, you see like a bunch of stuff. This is just like saying how you use it, like the usage and all those stuff. So you can now run like Git commands, Git and all those stuff. You have to like learn the commands, so you don't really need to like cram them. One thing with Git is the more you use it, the better. Like you get familiar with it, the more you use it. It's just as simple as that. Although there are some commands that will come handy, but then there are sometimes that there are some commands you may not need at the moment, and later when you are working on projects, collaborating on projects and all, you actually like need to understand some commands, and then you just go there and just go, they have a very fantastic documentation. So you don't need to really cram it, and then with practice actually like get comfortable with them. There's no magic to that. So there are a bunch of commands, and I said I will share the what's it called, the presentation with us. So I documented like some of them here in this presentation. So setup. So when you install and do the setup, which you can just do via this web page that we have here. Just click on this, do the installer and all. And so for the setup, although if you try to do anything on Git, when you have everything set up, and maybe you want to connect to a repository that is not on your system, that is online, for example on GitHub, you may be prompted to enter your username and all those stuff. If you have one, if you are registered on GitHub and all, then you can do that. But then if you already have one before downloading Git, you can actually like do a Git. This is a command here. This command here, Git config. So you just like global user.name and then you write your name. But this is not it is not really compulsory that you do this. Um, if you are actually like pushing to any repository, you get prompt to actually like enter your name or whatever credentials that is needed. So you can actually do that anytime. And going back here, so initializing. So this is I'm going to use a project here. I have this is a JavaScript project that I was just working on, and don't worry about the code and everything. But then this is just what a typical software product will look like. So you have like bunch of codes like this is a folder. So this software here, this black guy you're seeing here is actually VS Code. That is Visual Studio Code that I mentioned earlier. So this is just a development environment for where you can write code like different not all types of language, but different language like JavaScript, Python are the most common ones that doesn't really need a compiler like that. So it gives you this nice interface and all. So I use this mostly, and this is what a common software, a typical software looks like. And then you can have the project. So I have the project running already, and I think let's see it from the browser. So this is a typical web app. So you can sign in and then just do some bunch of stuff. So now this guy um is not on Git already. He's not on Git at all. I don't have version control set up for this project. So I'm going to try and do that. And that's where we do the initializing and then try to connect. If we get to GitHub, I will show you that. And then talking about bear or clone now. So there are some times that you already have a project on the version control software already. Let me try and meet. Okay. So there are just sometimes that you have you have a code already on a version control software, for example, GitHub. Maybe for example, I'm working on part of an app, and then I'm using GitHub, a version control software already. And you are just joining my team, and then you want to contribute to that. So you don't need to actually like create a new one. So what you do in this case is you clone it from my software, the online repository, to your own local system here. So that's talking about clone or bear. So bear is like you're starting it from ground up, and then sometimes you can have like just clone, as the case may be. And then this is like the most like used commands on Git. So you have something like add, commit, and push. So the essence here is I was showing you like this my folder here. So now if you add any file, let's say there's a new file here, and I call the file maybe, okay, let me try and open this here on Visual Studio Code, this big idea folder. So this is that folder on Visual Studio Code, and you can see the folder structure just like I have here. Big idea, and then you see the user interface and all this just here on Visual Studio. So let's say in this user interface, I want to create a new file, and I call that file user interface one, maybe javascript.js. So I have this file already. You can see it here. So I have this file already, and then I have like write some bunch of code and all those stuff. So when I'm done, what I do is I add this to my I had these changes now to my version control history. Then I do a commit. A commit is actually like saying attaching a message describing like the changes that you have made, and then I push. This push is actually pushing these changes I just made to my online repository. I'm still going to like do a demo of that. This is just like an explanation that would get it better. So now talking about GitHub. So GitHub is actually based on Git, and then GitHub is, I've been saying you have Git here. I showed you something on the terminal here. You can do Git and write a bunch of commands. But then with GitHub, you can actually do this from via the browser. So this is GitHub. Just go to github.com. Github.com is actually a company. So they give you this interface, this nice interface. This is my profile. So you need to register first. You register and then you log in. So I'm signed in already. So when you register on GitHub, this is one of the things I expect everyone here to do. You register on github.com, and then you have something like this. So I was talking about repository the other time. So this is a repository. These are my repositories, like what I have here. And I please mute. Okay. So I have like a lot of stuff here in my repo. This is actually like a project. This is another project. I can have them like that, like that. Like I have like a whole lot of them. Yeah, like that. So you have repositories like this. This is just like one folder, like I explained the other time, storing all my code just for this project, and so on and so forth. So you have access to that. You can create a new one. You just have this nice view of things instead of going through here and doing all those stuff. You can just like have this visual representation of whatever you are doing. And now I'm going to create a new repository. Remember, I'm using this project. Okay, let me use this my big idea for example. So this my big idea. I'm going to create a new repository for you. Let's call it big idea. So when you click on create repository, you have something like this, and then you just give it a name. This name can be anything, and if it is not available, GitHub will tell you automatically. So you can give it a description if you like. It's not compulsory. You can see it's optional, and then you can make it public or private. So public means people can just come to your repo and see it. Most of my repos are private, and if you make it private, you are the only one that can actually see it. And then whatever changes you make there, you're the only one that can actually see it, unless you actually add someone as a collaborator on that project. So you have public and then you have private. So I'm going to leave this as public, and then you should always do this. I recommend that you should always do this. Initialize a README. So a README is basically a big or better description of what your project is all about. So when you tick this checkbox, what it actually means is GitHub will create a file for you called readme.md, and then that's where you can add like your fantastic readme. I'll try and show you. Okay, show you what's readme, why that is loading. So then I'm going to like create this. Remember, public, initialize the repository, then create it. So this is, for example, a project I was working on sometimes back. Excuse me, this. So you can see this is the README. So you can see what this project is all about, like the features, installation, and all those stuff. So you can like see. Give me a second, please. So you can see like what the project is all about. This is like a nice presentation. When you read this, you know how to interact with this project. You see how to install it, how what is built with the deployment, like all those stuff. You see how you if you want to contribute, what you should do. So this is what README is all about. Then this gives you a better feel of what my repo is all about. And so yeah, I've created the new repo. You can see big idea. So because of time, you can see there's a README file here already. So this is my username, and then this is the name of my repository. So you see a bunch of stuff like this there: issues, pull requests, actions, projects, all this stuff, wiki, and this you can do settings. You can make edits to description and all those stuff. So you can see the branch. So by default, there's a master branch. So also you can create like a new file, like what I did with that test file I created earlier. You can create a new file, you can upload file, you can do like a bunch of stuff. With this is what GitHub basically gives you. And in our next class, we are going to talking about a whole lot more about some of these things. But then, because of time, I'm going to use this project that I have. So this is an existing project for me that was running. If you remember this app, and then I'm going to like add it to my version control. So I'm going to add it to this where is it? This guy here, this big idea. So the first thing I do is initialize it. So what you have to actually do is be at the directory of where this project is. So yeah, when I mean directory, I mean so this is the folder I'm working from, and then I have this AMI. This is the name of this project. Yeah, AMI, and make sure you're actually in. For me, it's documents, then LFH, then AMI. So I'm going to like open that in my terminal. Let me just do that from here. So present working directory, this is it. So you can, I'll just change directory so that you can see here, users, my name, document, LFH, AMI. So I'm in that directory already. So if I list the files inside there, I can see all of them, all those are my files. So now the first thing I do is run a git init. Don't forget, if you want to initialize, make your project use Git, do a Git init, then enter. So you can see initialize empty Git repository in this folder. So by default, Git would have created a .git folder. Yeah. So if you're using Windows, you have to like or whatever OS you are using, you have to like show hidden files, something like that to actually see this. But then it will create this there, and then this is where all the tracking is. And so you can see Git status. So this will give you like this. You can see untracked files. These are files that you have made changes to, but then they are not in your Git. Git doesn't know about them. Those are untracked files. Like Git knows these files exist, but then it's not in his own memory. So you can do stuff like if, for example, now this is my new project, and I have move this here. Okay, I have all these files, like all these. They are not tracked by Git yet. So if it's just one file, you see them as untracked from your terminal or command prompt, as the case may be. So you can see all these files, they are there, but then they are not tracked yet. So if I want them to be tracked, so I do a git add. So if I just want to track, let's say this .babel.rc file, let's just paste this there. So git add. So I'm adding it to my Git memory here now. So enter. So if I do a git status is just showing you what's up, like what's the current status of your Git, your version control. So you can see now this has changed. I have new file. So it's already tracked. It's been tracked now, and these ones are still untracked. So you can do like that, like git add, and then the name of that file you want to add. So when you add it, you're adding it, basically adding it to the memory of Git. So and then you can do just git add dot. This dot means add everything in this present directory. Like you can add everything at the same time. So if I press enter, and then I do a git status again, you can see new file. So it's tracking all my files at the same time, like the files, and this is just one folder client, but then this is inside client. So the folder and the subfolders, everything Git is going to track them. So I have them in my status now. And so remember, yeah, I was talking about initializing, which we have done, and then I've talked about bear upload. So what I'm doing now is bear. Then I've done an add, and now so commit and push. So in this instance now, this is just my new file. Like this is my first version of my software. Sometimes it can just be just one small change and everything like that. So, but then for my initial big idea, I'm going to do a commit. Commit is basically giving a message to a batch of changes you make on Git. So if I do git commit, so dash m is message, and then you put it in bracket. Let's say this is the first step in the big idea. So it's just like having your own customized message. So everything must be in quotes, don't forget. So I do an enter. You can see Git will do like a create mode. So this has actually been created in Git memory finally. And then if I do a status here again, you can see nothing to commit, working tree, clean, everything. So I have everything committed to my Git memory. So, but this is just still all in my local system. I've not like have them in. I don't have them in the new big idea repository I created. Yeah, I don't have them here. You can see. So to do this, you actually connect what you have on GitHub to your Git locally. When I mean locally now on your system. So I'm going to have this yeah in the command, so you have access to this command soon. So this is one of the commands that I use. This so I'm going to paste this here. So you do git remote add. So remote is saying I have a repository that is not in my local system. So I'm going to first edit the repo name. So by default you call it the origin. So it actually refers it to the origin of where our changes are being made. And then I go to the repo URL. So now this repo URL is this guy here, big idea, this is it. So I just copy it like this, the URL here, and then I paste it here. I'm going to delete this. So we have this guy here. So you can see HTTPS and all those stuff. So when I do enter, done. And you can check this by saying git remote -v. So you can see the origin. This is where everything is going to. You do a push, do a fetch or whatever. So it's going to this. This is just basically tracking what we have online on our local system. Now, I've done an add, I've done commit and all that. So I can push to this repository now. So to push, you do something like git push -u. That -u means the current user. Then I'm pushing to origin. Then the branch. So the branch system and pull request and all are those are part of what I will talk about in depth on our next class. So I have master. This is the name of the current branch. So branch here, let me just give you an overview. So branch here means This is user interface, remember. And then let's say I have a new user interface, inside user interface, 1 and 2. So I can have this as a branch, this as another branch. And then you can like manipulate things if you have to. Like if you want to just do a test on, this is what you have in user interface itself, but you want to make changes and run some tests. So you just like copy this guy into a new branch, do your changes there and test it without actually affecting what you have, like the main thing itself. So then the current branch by default that GitHub creates for you is master. I'm going to just run enter. You have to be connected to the internet to actually run this. And so this we actually push to that repository that we have on GitHub. Okay, so this is happening because I have a lot of changes that have not like that I like, for example, the README. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do a pull. Okay, so I have new branch. Okay. So Git pull is actually like pulling whatever I have on that my remote system. And then let me try and push again. This is because I'm pushing a bunch of files at the same time. Okay, so let me just do just one of the files. So I'm going to do the init again. Status here. So I have the files, and I'm going to pull again. Okay, I need to add that remote repo again. Then do a pull. Okay, so then I can just add a readme here. Okay, create a branch. I'm creating a new branch now, just not to confuse things. Test and git status, git add. I'm just going to add dot babel rc. Then I'm going to push this git push -u origin test. Okay. Status. So I need to run my commits. This is a new commit. Yeah, so I have like 1 file change and 5 insertion. That's from that Babel file. Push. So this is being pushed now to that new branch that I created. You can see branch test is set up to track remotes. So you can see this guy already have a new branch here now. So the default branch is master. So the issues we have in is because I was switching a lot of files, and then I need to actually like do, because this README file that I have here was created by GitHub and it was not in my local repository. So if you look at that project I was working on, I don't have a README. So that is why, and then it was conflicting. So that was why I created a new branch. If I click on this, you can see there's, if I click on this, you can see there's a test branch already. And if you look at that test branch, it's just this Babel RC that is there. and this was done 1 minute ago. So now you can actually like I can have like a lot of branch, do a lot of tests and all those stuff. And when I'm done, I can match this back to master. So this is just giving us like a taste of how we can actually run like a bunch of commands on Git and all those stuff. And in our next class, we are going to be doing like in depth of all these things, like talking about branches and then doing a pull request. So also let me say also I'll be giving us like we're working on an assignment and you have this command there. I think I'm going to update it. Just maybe add one or two more commands that I use that is not here. So also yeah, cloning before I forget. Remember, I can just send you a link. Say this is my big idea project, and I want you to work on this project with me. So what you do is just send the URL to this my GitHub repo. So I'm going to open a new terminal. Let me see the current directory I am. Okay, so I'm going to go back to documents. Okay, LFH. So I'm in LFH now. So if I look at what I have in LFH, I just have AMI and big idea. So I'm going to create a new folder, name it cloned, and then cd into that folder. So this is just me creating a folder and then entering that folder. Now, if you look at it, I'm in cloned, and I just created the folder, so you can see it here. So this is where I'm going to do a git clone. So because I just added you to that project to collaborate with me, this is what you will do. Something like this. You just come here. Now I've copied the URL here already. So and then you just paste it, git clone, then paste it, big idea, and then enter. So this is just like getting whatever you have on GitHub and then get it into your own project. You can see everything is here. And if you come here inside clone, you see we have big idea already, and then it's here. So it actually just makes it easy for you to manage all these things. And in our next class, I hope like we go much more deeper than this. So this is okay. Yeah, so these are the commands, and then we've talked about registering the UI overview and all. So I'll maybe add one or two commands that I didn't have here, that is not here, and that is it. So for what I expect us to do is should have Git installed now, and I want everybody to have a repo, create a repository on GitHub like this, something like this, and then you should on your local system create a folder like this. That folder you can name it whatever you like, and just like the big idea that I have here, create a folder, and then do a git remote add. So what that's like I explained earlier, this command, yeah, remote add. So you add that what you created on GitHub, you add it to your local machine. So that means you have done git init, and then you do git remote add, whatever you have here. So when you are done with that, that's the second step. Then create a new file. You can call it anything. Just you can call it your name. I'm going to give a more description of this like after the call. So then you're going to push that file to that your repository. So I'm hoping like we all do that. So the more we do this, it's actually the more like we get familiar with it. At first, it may look like it's cumbersome and all, but then it's really actually easy, and then you see how it actually helps you to solve like a lot of other problems. Think that is all. So thank you guys. If you have like questions for me and any question, just let me know. Questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just any question. You can put them in the chat. You can unmute and Don't tell me you guys don't have questions, bro. Like I'm dealing with all round gurus here. And no question is anyhow question, no question is stupid, no question is too, if you don't understand any part, anything, no matter how small, it's valid.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My name is Timilein.
Okay.
Firstly, I would love to thank you for the lecture. It was quite interesting and impactful. Thank you for taking your time to prepare this for us. Yes, it's not really a question, but I just want to request if your slide can be sent to us so that we can go through it.
Of course, it will be made available.
Yes, and also like creating a folder on your local system and then try to push it on the GitHub
Yes.
is quite confusing. Can you please go over it again?
Okay, so you mean creating a folder and then pushing it to GitHub?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let me just do that again. So I have this. Let me create a new folder, and let me call it. What should I call it now? Okay, a test folder. So I have this test folder, and then what's your name again? I think that would make more sense. Timileyin, right?
Yes, Timilein.
Okay, so I think I'll just do that. Name it Timi. Name Timi. So so this is, let's just assume this is your laptop. You are working on your laptop, and then I want you to collaborate with me on a project. And so you already have the project. For example, maybe you did a clone, or you don't even have the project, or you want to just start. And then I you have the URL. So what I'm going to do is on my terminal, which can be your command prompt, it can even be VS Code terminal or whatever. So or Git Bash, like I said. What I have to do is open this guy. So this is in LFH. So LFH is in my document, LFH and then Timmy. So I'm just going to open a new this thing. Just start from that. So I like using the command line a lot. So you guys should actually like try to imbibe that. It actually makes sense. So I'm going to change directory to documents slash LFH. Yeah, if I do an ls, that's listing what is in that directory. So I have AMI, big idea, clone, and Timmy. So I'm going to change directory to Timmy. And then, so if I do an ls, there's nothing inside Timmy. So we are fine. So now, Timmy is not a Git rep. It doesn't have Git initialized. So like I said, if I do a Git status, for example, here, should get an error. You see, fatal, not a Git repository or any parent directory. So then I have to just do a Git init. That's the first step. And you can see initialize empty Git repo. So then the next thing for me to do is I can, this is where you like create your files. So you just build an HTML file, for example. Yeah. So I'm going to open this in Visual Studio Code. You can open this in Notepad or any IDE of your choice. So it's not, I'm just using VS Code because that's what I use normally. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to open Visual Studio Code. So this is the Timmy folder. So I'm going to create a new file and call it timmy.html. That's also just do the normal, just write your code. So when you're done, when Timmy is done with everything, is done with writing all this code and all those stuff, it's going to, you can see there is this is what something else that VS Code gives you. You can see this is it's signaling that there's one change already. So I'll go back to my terminal and then create a new branch, git checkout -d dash v, a new branch. I'll call the branch name Timmy. Let's say Timmy branch. So switch to a new branch, Timmy branch. So now what I will do is do an add git. If I do a status first, you can see I have Timmy on tracked file, timmy.html. If I do git add timmy.html. So I have if I do a status again, that's git status. I have that no commit yet, but there's changes to be committed. So I do a git commit, that's the top step, -m, that's the message. So I would say this is Timmy's new file. So that's done. So now I've done an add, I've done a commit. Now I need to push to that repository, but I don't have it yet on my local system. So that is where the idea of adding comes. Remember the command I told you about, git remote add. So this command I said actually like make my git, like local git track the one on GitHub. I'm just going to remove this. This is just a placeholder. So git add. Remember, I say this should be your origin. Like this is where we are targeting, and then the repository, the remote repository. I'll still be using that big idea. Just blocking my. Okay. So I'm going to still copy that big idea. Let's come here. So I paste it. So I paste it. Git remote add origin. Then the big idea repository on GitHub. Press enter. So now I can now do a push. Git push -u, that's the user. Then I'm pushing to origin, which I already set here. So that means I'm pushing to this repo, origin. The name of the branch, I called it Timmy branch. Remember here. So Timmy branch. So this will just run, and then you can see so this is being pushed now. And then if I go back to this guy, you can see Timmy branch less than a minute ago. So if I click on this, for example, if I click on this, you can see I have that timmy.html file. So I have 3 branches already. I have test, I have master, which is the default, and I have Timmy branch. And you can see Timmy branch has timmy.html, which test doesn't have a master, for example. It's just on its own. And if I click on this timmy.html, you can view the content of the file, which is something like this, which was what I wrote earlier. So you have that, and then that means you can, a lot of people can actually just create their own branch, join this repository, create their own branch, and do their own stuff, and then push to that branch. Is that better? Is that clear?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, nice, welcome. So do we have any other question? So I'm going to share this recording and the slides too. And then if you have questions, just put them on the channel. Like if it is question concerning this, put them on the channel, not my DM, so that everybody can learn while we just talk about it or not. So and then I'll put the homework or assignment too on the channel later today. So any other question, please?
There's a question on the chat for you, sir.
Oh, what's that? Okay, what's the name of bear? Okay, and now it's different from. Okay, so I said earlier that we have bear. Bear is like what I just did for Timmy now. So if you remember, I started from here. I started from Git init. I moved to checkout, creating a new branch. Then I moved to status. I did an add status again, did a commit, add the remote origin, and then push to that origin after making my changes. So this is like me starting it from scratch and all. And sometimes it may just be a new repository. But if, for example, you it's not your own repository, and then it's for example, GitHub itself, it's not it's open source. They have their repo on GitHub that you can copy. So you can, if it is any repo that is open source for you, all you need is just the URL. So this is talking about clone now. So you need the URL and the branch and the repository name. So this is github.com. This is username and then big idea. So what you do is you copy this and then clone, just like the name suggests. So you run something like okay, let me just do this again. So this is Timmy. I'm going to go back to LFH. I'm in LFH now. I'm going to create a new directory. Let me just call it dial, and then I'm going to change to that directory. So I'm in dial now. So in dial, if I go to my folder structure here, you can see there's a dial already, and there's nothing inside it. But then what I have to do if I want to clone that repository is just do a git clone. Remember, I already copied the URL. So the name, the username, and it could be anything. So you can have like links to different repos that are open source. Open source means they are not private, they are public, and people can contribute to it. So when I do git clone, then the name of the URL, and I press enter. So this is going to clone into big idea, right? That's the name of the project. And you can see it's 100% done. If I go back to Dio here now, you can see I already have big idea in Dio. So I have whatever it's in that master branch for that project. I have it. So that is cloning. Like you're just adding it to your own local system and working on it. I hope that is clear too. So we are already out of time, and then if you still have further questions, we can just like post them in the channel like I suggested, and then we can discuss about it there, and I can give more clarity on things like you don't understand. So thank you everybody. Thank you for being here all the while. And so that brings us to the end of the session. So I will see you guys on Slack. Thanks.